Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
I'm appalled at what you said on that pod thing. It's disgusting.
This is the After the Show podcast. It's where we get honest and real with yo ass. So sit back, relax, have a blast, because it's time for the After the Show podcast.
Yeah, here we go. It is Monday on the KVJ After the Show podcast. Good to have you all back here after the weekend. It's just crazy. Boy, we got some serious rain that has been going on throughout the regular show, and now it is continuing on now, and it's like at that monsoon level. Typically in South Florida, you get the monsoon, maybe you see it for 20 minutes to 30 minutes, and then
it stops.
It tapers off. It has been at full out monsoon level, I would say, for 2.5 hours now.
It's crazy.
It was to the point where I would turn on the microphones and you could hear it raining, just the rain, not like thunder or lightning, but just hearing the rain beating down. It was coming down that heavy.
I'm so excited. I get to go home, and this is my first time having a nap again.
Oh, yeah.
Because Rocco's having his first day of brick and mortar school.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a nap in the rain. I got leftovers in the fridge. Hell yeah.
What kind of leftovers?
So I pulled a Jaybird last night. I went to Pizza Girls on PGA, off of PGA, and I got pizza for Rocco, pizza for Panda. I got a little appetizer for me, and then I got wings to go.
You did. Where from?
From Pizza Girls.
Yes, great.
Yes, I got wings to go, so I knew I could warm them up today and enjoy them.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to cozy up in my bed, my sleep number bed.
Oh, good for you.
It sounds awesome.
That does sound cozy.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, that sounds real nice.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have something like that set up where you're like, okay, this is all good. Yeah, I know once I kind of got the house back in the afternoons. Yeah, it was nice to get past that because I'm able to get, some workouts back in again. And
you guys love your kids, but honestly, get the fuck out.
A virtual kindergarten was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
For me, I am not set up to be a school teacher. I don't have the patience. I was yelling at him. He would start crying. Like, it was terrible.
Well, I think what's tough, at least for me, is you, like with parents, you get a groove on just in anything. And I'm very much that way with, what we got to do to get this show ready and everything. Like, everything has to be kind of laid out where you have to be progressive to this point by a certain time. And then with a lot of it would just be like, hey, I need you to do this real quick, or hey, this is going on. It's like, and then when you lose focus, and this is true, I've studied this because I always try to, study how to maximize time and productivity and all that stuff. Production studies say that when you get dragged away from a project, it takes you 20 minutes to get back to that same level of focus and intensity at that point. And I'm like, okay, I've got something going on. I'm writing out a list or something else is going on. And it's like, hey, da-da-da. And I'm like, so I know right away I've just lost 30 minutes. And that happens 3 times in a day. That's 90 minutes already that kind of throws everything off.
It's crippling when you don't have 5 minutes to waste 90.
And then I come in the next day, I'm reading it on the show. It doesn't even make sense. And I'm like,
you're like, who wrote this?
What was I even thinking? What was this?
Who wrote this? This is terrible.
This is terrible. What is this? Yeah, so it's kind of the good news on having that back. But yeah, the rain today is crazy. 100% chance of rain today. It looks like tomorrow, 50%. It looks like a rainy week.
Oh.
And looking all the way. The good news is by the time we get to Friday and Saturday, it's still a little bit ways out. They're only saying about maybe 30%. But I'm kind of over this rainy season. Like, can we get this thing done in here pretty quick? You just kind of had enough.
I know. I can't wait for the drier, cooler November air.
It was a little cooler out yesterday in the evening. I was walking Chewy, and then halfway, because the clouds were rolling in, and then halfway through, it got all humid and hot. I'm like, screw this, man.
On one walk, it can totally change.
It changed.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon, it was rather warm outside. And the sun was a beautiful little Sunday, but
it was hot out there at the Devil Tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Although it was weird, it did change in temperature a lot. You'd be walking and it'd get all hot, and then you'd get this really like a burst of cold air that would come.
That was probably a ghost.
Spirits. I know.
Ghost. Are ghosts chilly?
Yeah, that's a sign of a ghost. If
Okay.
you have some cold air going on by you.
Okay. They say that this is one of the worst years for the natural disasters and the payouts. I guess the $1 billion mark is pretty much where they put it. And they say that this year there's been 16 weather climate disasters that now have us exceeding $1 billion. They say that we've had 1 drought, 11 severe storm events, 3 tropical cyclones, 1 wildfire. And it's up to $16 billion. They say it ties a record for 2011 and 2017, which isn't that long ago. So, yeah, pretty much every year we're just getting terrible weather. We have that La Nina going on this year, and so that means that we're going to be a little bit warmer and drier.
I'm an El Nino fan.
El Nino?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got the, I think it's the opposite right now, La Nina.
La Nina.
Female version.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so I guess the El Nino then, if it's the opposite, would be wet.
I just remember the one year it was big in the press. El Nino, El Nino. So every time something went wrong, I would just blame that shit on El Nino.
Yeah.
Damn, I lost my debit card.
El
El
Nino.
Nino. That's right. Just throw it back to that. Got some emails here. One from Roxanne said, yeah, I want to tell you a funny little story. My oldest son was in the car waiting for school to unlock the morning that I was on the radio. Remember, she had called in and talked about how one time when she stepped into crazy, she trashed a guy's trailer.
Yes.
And she was actually cutting the cord on the microwave but didn't unplug it and shocked the shit out of herself.
That was amazing.
That was her exact quote.
Yeah, she was great.
She was.
She said, I wanted to thank y'all because how you said I was the best caller of 2020 and that I was an MVP really made my son happy and made his day.
Aww.
When I picked him up from school, he told me that he told everyone I was on the radio and I was the MVP caller.
Aw, that's so sweet.
I stick by those words. I that's my favorite call of 2020.
You earned it, girl.
My son made me out like I am some sort of celebrity, so thank you very much for that, for making my day and my son's day. Tell Jaybird I am for real, and I'd love to sit and talk with him. Man, it would be so much fun. Sit and just talk with Jaybird and Denny's and smoke and laugh our butts off.
Oh, you know she smokes.
I would.
That's awesome.
I'd love to do it.
Roxanne. Yeah, some good stuff. Interesting. Yeah, she was talking a little bit, too, about the Deviltry. I forwarded an email from her to you on that. She is familiar with that area there, Jaybird, and a couple different people have sent in their thoughts on the Deviltry itself and some of the stuff up there in Port St. Lucie. It'll be that time of year. We often talk about some of the haunts, and there are some good stories out of South Florida and different places to go.
We met some really, really nice Port St. Lucie listeners up there.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, they were very kind.
Mm-hmm. And we'll keep the progress of Vicky here on the show. If there's anything different, she believes that maybe one of the spirits attached themselves to her. She's been feeling like some choking feeling around her neck.
I think it's weird because it's a victim, and I'd like to see if she can maybe get any kind of messages. Wouldn't it be great if you could get some kind of extra detail in that case?
Yeah, there would something that would pan out, something's hidden somewhere or
Yeah.
something, and they're like, whoa, how about that?
I get that they know what happened, sort of. Although at the Deviltry, they don't know exactly what Schaefer did to those girls. Only because of his MO, you assume he hung them from the tree probably and did the whole, pitting them against each other.
Yeah.
But only Schaefer and his victims know what really happened
Right.
out there.
How do we know he pitted them against each other? Did he tell you that?
There's a few people that escaped from him, and that's what happened with Ted Bundy too. Ted Bundy, they started kind of really opening up the door because somebody escaped, and then they recognized him in a lineup, and he tried to get all clever and change his hair. And they're like, that son of a bitch is changing his hair, but she still recognized him.
Good.
And that alone really kind of got the ball rolling on Bundy. So if you could escape from your murderer, it helps out.
Yeah. Do everything you can to actually escape from your murderer.
There are stories where the murderer left the person for dead. The murderer thinks the victim is dead, and the victim lives, and that's how they catch the killer.
Oh, they'll play dead. I would definitely do that.
Gotta play dead.
Yeah. Janelle sent in an interesting story, signs from a loved one that had passed. She is from Jupiter and said that today was my birthday. What? 41?
Yeah.
Said that my dad had passed away on August 24th. He was 64 years young. He had a heart attack in his sleep, never felt any pain, which is what I think we all hope happens to us. He's one of my favorite people, and it's been hard. But I'm a positive person. I know he would want me to be happy. I'm so grateful for all the memories I have. And last night I was with his girlfriend, Lori. We went to Shipwreck to get crab legs, which is something we do with my dad all the time.
I love that place. Shipwrecked is an awesome, awesome place.
Where is it?
It's up in Jupiter, Tequesta area.
Okay.
It's an old bar. It doesn't look like they've done anything to it since '85.
Wow.
They haven't changed shit. And it looks like you just step back into 1985. And it's amazing.
Is it? Okay.
I would love it.
I'm a big fan of Shipwrecked. If you're up that way, it's right near where alternate A1A and US1 intersect in Tequesta.
Does it have kind of like you walk upstairs and there's an outside?
Yep.
I love that place. I've been there.
There's an upstairs, outside. The layout is fucking
that's
bizarre.
where I usually go. And then inside, you go downstairs. Okay.
The layout makes no sense whatsoever. There's all these weird rooms that lead to nowhere, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But it's just a cool, hasn't been updated since 1985 vibe.
I almost talked about that place last week because, I like going that when I was talking about kind of like divier places.
The food was good, too.
Okay.
I had lunch there, me and Rocco and Mags one day. We were like, let's just go in here. I got to go see what this is because I always see people on the outside bar, like salty dogs up there having drinks. And so I've always wondered.
So she talked about how she was with her girlfriend, Lori. They're at Shipwreck getting the crab legs, which she used to do with her dad. And she said, we just got in there, ordered our drinks, and hadn't even taken the first sip when the bartender, who we know well, said, this gentleman just bought your drinks, ladies. And I look around. It's a guy about my age, had on beard. I didn't recognize him. Lori didn't recognize him, and Sean, the bartender, a girl bartender, didn't recognize him either. He ordered a glass of water with a lemon, used the restroom, then paid for our drinks and left. And on his way out, he said, have a good night, ladies. We all thought it was so strange. And Sean said, did Rusty just buy you guys a drink? Rusty was my dad's name.
What?
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of odd.
I also, too, I like how you started off the email. She has a very positive perspective on death.
Yeah.
Do you notice how she said she not sad?
It's a great way to go.
Misses your dad, which I understand, but you're not holding on to the pain. And I don't think your dad would want you to.
Yeah. Well, we're all going to go. And so you wish for people to leave this plane the best way possible.
For sure.
Rusty bought them a drink on her birthday, and her dad's name was Rusty? That's
she used to go with her dad.
And he's a man of mystery. Just as quick as he came in, he was gone.
Got a water and left?
Good email.
Yeah, if nothing else, it does make for a very interesting story for your birthday.
Yeah.
I think it gives you a little hope.
Mm-hmm. We oftentimes will have that topic we'll talk about, bringing somebody back from the dead to get some answers from them to find out. And I know we'd mentioned this before with Jeffrey Epstein, but more than ever, to me, I would just love to be able to get into what was really going on, because I was reading this article about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm fascinated by the whole thing, not only just the Palm Beach ties, but to me, what is fascinating about the Jeffrey Epstein story is, was this guy a sham, a grifter? How did he have that kind of money? A lot of people don't really know. And his intellect, he would come off like he was a man of science and this and that, and he knew the stock market. And this article I was reading about him said that he was just a guy that knew a little, but not much. And then the longer you talk to him, it's almost like he had ADD. He would go on to something else. And then if you really talk to him and try to get past the surface level, you realize Jeffrey Epstein wasn't that smart and didn't know a lot.
He was the great pretender.
He really was. And so it just is amazing how he got in, with Les Wexner, a guy in Columbus who has the Limited and all those properties. The Bed Bath & Beyond, I believe, is his, and all those kind of things, and has a massive estate in Columbus, and just the people he was hanging out with. And, he has that little house on Palm Beach, which I guess a developer has now made an offer on, and he's talking about he's going to tear it down and turn it into something else. So that's kind of in the process of getting moved. So it won't be much longer if you do care to go see what Jeffrey Epstein's place looked like, where he had all kinds of seedy stuff going go do it before they tear that thing down. But the story I was reading about Jeffrey Epstein, there's so many fascinating things on this. It was about this reporter that got a hold of Jeffrey Epstein's personal contact book. Now, it first appeared in the year 2009. His former butler, Alfredo Rodriguez, tried to sell it to attorneys representing Epstein's victims for $50,000. Rodriguez was Epstein's butler for his Palm Beach mansion for many years. And this guy had stories.
Oh, I bet he has seen some crazy stuff.
He said he would always see nude underage girls at Epstein's pool. He said that they'd routinely wipe down and stow away sex toys in Epstein's room after massages. He said he saw child pornography on Epstein's personal computer. And this is the crazy thing. In 2011, this Alfredo Rodriguez, the butler, was sentenced to 18 months in prison for having tried to sell the book to an undercover agent.
Oh.
He actually spent more time in jail than Epstein ever did.
That's insane.
The damn butler spent more time in prison than Jeffrey Epstein. Is that not
crazy.
insane? Apparently that was his insurance with the whole thing. But what I read in this article was crazy because this little black book, it has 1,571 names, 5,000 phone numbers, thousands of emails and home addresses that are in it. And in the book, stars are next to some of the entries. There are arrows pointing to others, and at least 38 people are circled, and nobody knows why. The people that are circled are Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, Ehud Barak. Some very influential people are circled. Now, are they circled just because they're that influential and important, or because they believe that Jeffrey Epstein was doing nothing but getting dirt on a lot of famous people? And some people were wondering if the circle meant that he had something on that person.
Maybe he was secretly recording them.
They say that he did that.
To have insurance. He's like, all right, Ralston, you want to go? You want to try to bring me down? Well, I got you in this.
Well, he would invite, that's what they said anyway, that he would invite these powerful people to his mansion or to his island, and there was recording devices in every room. So if one of these dudes hooked up with an underage girl, now Jeffrey Epstein has a tape of you banging an underage girl.
Yeah, and they wound up finding that stuff when they went into one of his places. He had cameras in every single room, and there were just tapes and tapes that he had kept. And so, you know, they're trying to figure out exactly what that was, you know, all about and what he might possibly have tapes on. Now, will any of this stuff come to light? That is, you know, a big question. But what I'd heard, the conspiracy theory about Jeffrey Epstein, is something I'd never heard before and just absolutely kind of blew my mind. There is belief that Jeffrey Epstein was actually conducting the sex trafficking at the government's request, or that he was already doing the trafficking when the government found out about it, took notice, and started using Jeffrey Epstein as a government asset to start getting dirt and information on people.
Oh, my.
Which I'm like, wait, what?
So Jeffrey Epstein was a spy?
A spy, in a sense, for maybe the U.S. government. Some people are saying it was CIA. Some people say that it was Mossad, that is the Secret Service for Israel, that they were using him to get damning evidence on all these world leaders that they could use and blackmailing. Because let's say, for instance, you've got any kind of thing where you want a country to sell you arms or this or that, and it's like, oh yeah, well, you know what, I could let this information out and blah, blah, blah. So all these kind of dark, shady things. Jeffrey Epstein was basically a peddler doing all this kind of stuff at that level. And what is interesting, this attorney or this reporter had turned up talking to one people, because what he does, he got the unredacted version of this little black book and called every name in it.
Really?
Now, a lot of them didn't get anywhere, but he talked to some people that was very interesting. And he talked to one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims. And she said, this might be the key to it. Jeffrey Epstein had told me about this book from 1965. It's a James Bond ripoff called The Man from Orgy, O-R-G-Y. It's a book about a con man who travels the world under the guise of being a sex researcher in order to spy for the U.S. government. Epstein told this person before his death, read this book, and that will help you understand everything about me. So Jeffrey Epstein at least was trying to play off that he was some kind of agent that was doing this stuff for this reason.
I mean, the level of conspiracy, if that's true.
Yes.
It's just kind of hard to wrap your brain around.
Now, they also believe that he was a corporate spy hired by big businesses to uncover money that had been embezzled. And he was kind of doing that work for Les Wexner. That's kind of what he would do, is trying to find people, because when you're that rich, and he was finding people that are siphoning money off of Les Wexner. And so as he was finding that and be like, hey, somebody just took $17 million from you. He has so much money that he got more and more control. Jeffrey Epstein did with Les Wexner. And that's how I think he got a lot of his money in that whole thing. But they say the fact that Jeffrey Epstein could have been doing this explains how he got that plea deal. Remember the one with Acosta here that he served?
Yes, the sweetheart deal.
Yes, the sweetheart deal. And they said that is really the only kind of deal that you could have got if there was something like that was going on.
Well, isn't Acosta no longer working? I mean, if this is true, wouldn't Acosta throw a Hail Mary and say, no. He was working for the government. I'm not going down for this.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, is what they could get out of the U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta. And they had even done a report here that turned up how between Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, the judge, Acosta, everybody else was kind of glad-handing. It was Barry Kreischer, I believe it was, that was the state attorney at the time, how they were kind of all working together. And so they had said, this 2007 deal that had happened, the federal immunity, is what is very suspect. They said this isn't the kind of deal that you would have gotten for something like this. And in 2019, you remember Acosta got that sweet deal where he then was bumped up into Trump's Labor Department. And apparently he told the president's transition team that they said, hey, what happened with this deal with Epstein in 2007? And he said he was told to back off. Acosta said, and this is in documents, I was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone.
Really?
Yes. So that's why Acosta did not pursue, because he blamed that it was CIA or whatever, saying, you're not to deal with Jeffrey Epstein. He is ours. And so you stay off.
Fascinating.
Right. So that's what lends a little bit of credibility that maybe Jeffrey Epstein was actually a government asset that they were using to get all this kind of shady information and blackmail on all these world leaders. Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
It's mentally exhausting to think about.
Yeah, and then, they go deeper into the one thing that was in this article was just how suspicious the death was. The medical examiner hired by Epstein's brother ruled the death homicide, not strangulation. That broken hyoid bone doesn't happen when you strangle yourself. It rarely fractures in instances of strangulation. They say the wounds on Epstein's neck, which drew blood, were not under the mandibles, as is usual with hanging victims, but instead around the middle of the neck, which is consistent with strangulation. They say the wound was also thin and wire-like, much thinner than a bedsheet, and photos of Epstein's cell show the bedsheet itself was not bloody. So why was there not blood on the bedsheet?
Yeah, I don't think anybody thinks Epstein really killed himself.
Yeah.
If you do, you don't understand what bones break when you hang yourself.
Yeah, the two guards fell asleep. The three cameras did not. They all three cameras simultaneously malfunctioned.
That's some Mercury and retrograde shit right there.
It's absolutely an inside job. Now, who's the insider? I don't know if we'll ever know.
No, you won't. And you know what was interesting? Gloria Allred, who is now representing several of Epstein's victims, they talked about the plea deal with her. And she said, there is no good answer. It doesn't exist. And that's why you can't find it. And she said, sometimes not finding the answer is the answer.
Damn.
And I was like, that's really the best way to put the Jeffrey Epstein story, is sometimes not finding the answer is the answer. So to me, I was like, that's what blew my mind. Could you imagine if he actually was a CIA asset that they were using?
I mean, the quote from Acosta, he's intelligence. I mean, that's, don't touch him.
They said, don't touch him. Yeah, he belongs to intelligence. You have to leave this alone. That's what Acosta said. That's his official statement on it.
Okay, CIA, what say you?
They won't say anything.
Damn.
And the agreement, everything else, none of that stuff is part of any public record you can get. They've tried.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, so if you're talking about bringing somebody back to ask them questions, if you could get the truth of what really was going on in the Jeffrey Epstein deal.
Yeah, but when you bring back Jeffrey, does he just lie to you?
Probably.
Like he lied his whole life?
You'd think he comes back with all knowing, and he's more
He's chill.
He's a little bit chill, yeah. Not as big as a dirtbag.
Yeah, so just pretty fascinating stuff.
Yes.
Somebody said, yeah, Epstein's Lady Maxwell has a submarine license and a contract with the cruise ships on some other island. Yeah, he's saying that, yeah, there's linked to all kinds of different stuff here.
Ghislaine.
Yes. Yeah, so who knows?
What's going on with her? I haven't heard about where she is for a minute.
I don't know. I assume she's in a holding cell somewhere. The God is she's waiting trial after she was arrested.
Hopefully she stays in that holding cell and doesn't turn up dead, and she can actually get on the stand and give us some details.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to hear her defense. I want to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, it would be really fascinating to see. And, she's already said that she thinks she's going to turn up dead.
Well, she'd be right. Because
Yeah.
she knows all the secrets that he knew. And look where he ended up, dead as doornail.
If it goes to this level. Yeah, so it really is. To me, what's mind-boggling is just how sinister and how corrupt all these government agencies are, not just the U.S. I was telling you earlier about El Padrino, the Godfather, the
From
guy who
Mexico.
was second in command. He was the leader of the cartel. He was the one in charge of fighting cartels. And
He's the government official in charge of fighting cartels, and he's also the leader of the cartel.
it's unbelievable. That's why these stories just blow me away. It really is fascinating. The whole power, how it really works.
How it really works is about power and money.
And how blinded we are.
Because we don't know the half of
They
it.
come out with a new iPhone and distract us, and then they just do all this other crap.
You're
It's
right.
pretty amazing
We're
stuff.
distracted.
That's it. That's what it is. Let me see here. A couple other emails. Lindsay had said, why did Virginia take down her Insta story video of her parody of the Ocean Spray guy? It was hilarious. I wanted to respond to it, but noticed it was gone when my message wouldn't go through.
I have to redo it because I didn't like the way the music matched up exactly.
Oh, okay.
I will redo it. I have Panda. I outsourced the project to my video producing husband, and so he is going to take it now and do the music right to Fleetwood Mac.
Okay.
I'm going to remind him to get on that today.
All right. So there's no conspiracy theory on that?
No. It just, Insta stories all come down unless you pin them. Insta stories only have a 24-hour shelf life.
I never like anything that... I don't like content that goes away.
I get it.
If something's awesome, I want to keep that forever.
Well, all my Insta stories are awesome. You should follow me.
I think I'm forced to, right? Don't I? I think I fucking follow you.
Did you see my...
I didn't, because it was deleted. I looked for it. It was gone.
And somebody said, hey, I was wondering with Virginia law, how does shared custody work? It seems like Mags is pretty much with Virginia all the time, but she has to be with her dad at some point, right? Is he honoring Virginia law?
So it's kind of curious, the whole situation with Mags's dad. She has built a life for herself in Jupiter, where I live. She's got friends in the neighborhood. She's now attending school in the neighborhood. Mags likes Jupiter. Mags doesn't really like Wellington. Wellington is where her dad lives.
Okay.
And so it's really tricky. With COVID, I didn't want her going back and forth. I just don't think it's safe. And so we had her and her dad agreed to let her stay in Jupiter. But I think her dad does get a little sad that she doesn't go to Wellington as much. And he's brought it up to her. And it's an interesting point of contention now that she's a teenager.
Right.
And will be driving herself
Okay.
very soon. How do you tell a teenager, you have to go to your dad's house and spend the night and you don't want to, and none of your friends are in that neighborhood and none of your stuff is there because you have everything in Jupiter now. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Mag needs some Wolverine friends, some Wellington friends.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I guess because she doesn't go to school there, it's a little trickier.
That's what I'm saying. She needs to get. If she had a couple friends she liked, if you're a teenager and you got your crew, you're gonna go where your crew is at. And if she doesn't have any crew up down in Wellington,
Clueless.
Yeah, it gets to a point, with kids where you don't necessarily, they don't have to go where you tell them to. Now, she's still 15, coming up on 16, so I guess that would still apply. But yeah, that's the thing very soon is that, and I think that's why some parents start to kiss their kid's ass after a while, because they're like, I don't want my kid to hate me because my kid's never going to come around and see me.
Yeah, and I think that's what she's going through. As she becomes a teenager and she's making more of her own decisions, she's making more of her own decisions. She wants to go where she wants to go.
Do you want her to spend time with him?
I do, but I also don't want her to be unhappy. And there's certain things that I won't get into, about her happiness that maybe it's not where she wishes it to be in Wellington.
Nothing against the people of Wellington, but when I go to Wellington, I'm always stuck on fucking Wellington Trace, and I can't get off. And I end up in some hospital or
and
some.
You're turned around because none of the streets make sense. They all go in a damn circle.
I went there to go get a pizza from someone recommended. I end up going to friggin' Lantan. I don't know what the hell happened. It didn't. It went awry and askew.
Mags is a girl of the beach. Mags is a girl of boating and scurfing, and she's got the jet ski, and so she loves that life, and that life doesn't exist in Wellington.
Right, there's not a great beach.
No,
you got to get into horses, Mags. If you want to go out to Wellington.
Mags doesn't care a lick about horses. So it's just not. It's not where she wants to be, and pretty soon we're not going to be able to tell her where she has to be.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be careful, bossing her around and telling her, you have to go here, you have to go there. Like, she's getting to make her own decisions soon.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, that's very true. Let me see. We got Carlos, kind of a shout out here. He said, I'd like to thank two sweet girls named Stephanie and Julie for helping me save a raccoon who had its head stuck in a can on Sunday night.
Oh, poor little raccoon.
Yeah, that is nice. So very much thank you to them. And if you like a nice little animal porn shot, this peeping Tom meerkat from my time working at an animal rescue center in Africa. You can see here Amanda from Stewart, this meerkat wants to see some boobies.
Dang.
And, there it is, trying to pull her top down.
Meerkatting around.
Yeah, on KVJ TV.
I wonder if that meerkat's been canceled.
She does have very nice breasts.
I'm glad you said it.
Meerkat Pennington over here.
Yeah.
You can't say it.
He's got a little meerkat in him.
It's 2020. I can't say it, but
You got a little meerkat in you?
Virginia, what you say?
Yeah, she's got great boobs. We agree with the meerkat.
Yeah. There you go.
He couldn't help himself.
Yeah. Well, fascinating stuff. All right. Well, thank you all for the emails. Thank you guys for locking it in. Try to stay dry here on this Monday. Back with you tomorrow.
Excellent outcomes of health problems, ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.